The commission President Donald Trump created by executive order in May to look into his alleged charges of voter fraud is selling into serious headwinds as 44 states have refused to cooperate with this fraudulent commission. You recall last week the vice chairman of the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity, Chris Kobach, sent a letter to states requesting sensitive voter data, including names, addresses, dates of birth, political party affiliation, and the last 4 digits of Social Security numbers. The request was overwhelmingly met with suspicion.
The last thing I want to do is turn it over to folks who haven't demonstrated since January of 2017 that they can actually govern, let alone keep confidential information confidential. The American public will see this isn't a partisan issue. This isn't just Democrats. This isn't Republicans.
This is an outrageous attempt by this administration to suppress voters, to disenfranchise voters.
Oh, check out Mississippi. The Secretary of State, Delbert Hosemann, put out this statement. My reply would be they can go jump in the Gulf of Mexico, and Mississippi is a great state to launch from. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar picked up on that sentiment.
Well, I have an even better idea. I think they should go jump in Lake Superior.
Kobach, who's also the Secretary of State for Kansas, said the commission is looking into more than Trump's unproven charges of voter fraud in the presidential election.
The commission is not set up to disprove or to prove President Trump's claim, nor is it just looking at the 2016 election. We're looking at all forms of election irregularities, voter fraud, registration fraud, voter intimidation, suppression.
Now, how ignorant is this? Kobach himself refuses to turn over voter information to his own commission. The Electronic Privacy Information Center, a privacy protection group, filed a lawsuit in a D.C. federal court to block the commission's attempts to get voter information. The Trump administration is expected to reply to the court today. Joining us to discuss this is Kristen Clark, President and Executive Director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law. Our panel, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair of the Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, Angela Saylor, Deputy to the Chairman of the Gloucester Institute, Spencer Overton, President of the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies. Kristen, what is stunning here is many red states are telling Trump and his commission to go to hell.
There is tremendous bipartisan opposition to what the president has done here and what this Election Integrity Commission seeks to do. I mean, this is unprecedented. A commission trying to compile data on more than 200 million registered voters across our country. Date of birth, social security numbers. Make no mistake, this is a dangerous effort that we see afoot. And at the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, we intend to use every tool in our arsenal to bring about the termination of this commission. There was the privacy suit that you mentioned earlier, but on Monday we filed a Hatch Act complaint against Chris Kobach. Chris Kobach has been named vice chair of the commission by the president, and there is a federal law called the Hatch Act passed in 1939 that prohibits federal employees like Chris Kobach from using their official government position for political purposes. Chris Kobach is running for governor Kansas right now and is actively doing so. And what we found is a trail of evidence that shows that he is using his leadership role in this commission to at every turn promote his run for governor in Kansas. In our view, we believe that this conduct violates the Hatch Act and that he should be disciplined and responded to accordingly. But we're proud of the 44 states that have stood up to this commission. There's still more work that needs to be done. Hawaii, Nebraska, Florida, Arkansas, and New Jersey have yet to respond. So one thing that people can do today is keep the pressure on. The word to secretaries of states and leading election officials across the country is do not participate in any form or fashion with the work of this commission. It is a sham commission. It is illegitimate. And the real goal of this commission is to promote widespread voter suppression laws across our country.
First of all, to hear Kobach say, oh no, this is not about proving Trump's accusations, they want to go even further.
They want to go even further, and this, pulling Social Security numbers and date of births. We've never seen anything like this in our nation's history. And what's shameful to me is that we've already heard from election officials in Arizona who said that voters are calling and saying, you know what, take me off the rolls. We've seen voters who are saying, you know what, I'm going to call my office tomorrow and ask them to take my name off the rolls because I don't want to be subject to this. This, to me, it is anti-democratic, it is discriminatory, and it's dangerous. And we're going to continue to fight until we terminate this sham election integrity commission.
Let's go to our panel here. Spencer, you've written a book on the issue of voting. And again, this is again a consistent effort by Republicans to suppress the vote.
Right. So big picture here. What he's trying to do in getting all these rolls is basically go through and say, hey, look, here's some dead voters, or here's some people who moved and are on different rolls in different states. Therefore, there's the opportunity for fraud, and therefore we need more restrictions that will make it more difficult to vote. Like, that's the big picture here. Now, this is a very partisan commission. The opposition has been bipartisan. And the reason that is because you've got a libertarian strain now in the Republican Party that's like, we don't need to give out Social Security numbers. We don't need big government here, basically restricting our folks in terms of their right to vote and their right to engage in giving up their private information.
Angela, what's interesting here is that a member of the commission from Maryland has resigned as a result of this request. Again, this is, even though, Ray Nard Jackson comes on here and he says voter suppression is not real, this is fundamentally clear what Kobach, what Trump are trying to do.
Well, I think the moment here also is that we're seeing that you've got Republicans and Democrats disagreeing with this, and that this really is about the sanctity of keeping everyone's privacy and right to vote protected. And as we continue with Voter Rights Act, the claims of fraud, I think this conversation is going to bubble and percolate all of these discussions to a place of resolution.
Greg, look, Republicans saw what happened in 2008 and 2012 with the re-election of President Barack Obama. They saw massive voter turnout of African Americans. And then there was a clear effort to suppress voters. North Carolina was one of those states. We saw the rapid expansion of voter ID law. In a second, I'm going to pull a story up out of Wisconsin where a 30-year legislator admitted that they tried to suppress the vote. They did suppress the vote in Wisconsin, how he regrets what they did. And he said even he tried to, he put his own team on looking for voter fraud. Couldn't find any. He said when they were in the Republican meetings, they would have legislators who would say, oh, they're busing in Democrats from Chicago. He would ask for evidence. They could not provide any. He said, give me 3 examples of voter fraud. He said there was no evidence ever presented in Wisconsin by any other Republican to prove voter fraud. So he is on the record to ProPublica saying even that also was a lie.
Absolutely. Well, this isn't about evidence, Roland, as you say. I mean, as Spencer said, this is about pretext, which is why I really respect, Kristen, what you all are doing. You got to get rid of this commission. This isn't, first of all, the states cannot comply. It is illegal. It's a federalism question. So this really isn't about whether they're going to give up public information or not. This is about sending a message. For people to go in and say, take me off the rolls, Kobach, mission accomplished. The Hatch Act, this is a civics lesson. Whether it's the Hatch Act with Kobach in Kansas, whether it's Trump raising $35,000 and more pop down at the federal building that he's leasing for a hotel. This is a lesson in civics, but they can't comply, Roland. This is a legal issue, and a first-year law student will tell you the phrase chilling effect. They're trying to stop people from voting by intimidating.
Kristen, one of the things Kobach did was explain to our folks what cross-check is, because literally they were removing people from the rolls who had the same name in another state as if that isn't real.
That's right. So they would use this data program to try and establish that John Brown in Mississippi is the same as John Brown in Minnesota. And it is a process that's riddled with errors. It's not accurate. It yields false positives, is what we call them. And what's remarkable is you have folks in this administration whose names appear on the rolls in multiple states.
Like
Mr. Bannon.
Steve Bannon.
Mr. Bannon. So it is all pretext. This is a desperate attempt to try and substantiate these false, baseless allegations that millions of people voted fraudulently in the November election. The ultimate goal will be to push efforts like cross-check in order to purge the rolls. The goal will be to push forth national voter ID laws and burdensome proof of citizenship requirements at the national level. This is dangerous stuff, and we intend to fight this Election Integrity Commission until we tear it down. We should be focused on making it easier for people to vote in our democracy today.
And Roland, what happens is legitimate people get excluded from the rolls as a result of this. We saw it in Florida in 2000. We saw thousands of legitimate Florida voters that were basically kicked off of the rolls because of this over-inclusive cross-check here in terms of an attempt to clean or purge the rolls.
And again, it's a state issue. So they may not target the whole United States. Interesting how they don't like they like states' rights except when they get in power. But maybe there are a few key states where this could swing an election in 2 to 4 years. And that's really maybe we're looking at.
Well, again, the 6 states is interesting. So Chris Christie's state hasn't responded because he's still sitting on the beach in New Jersey. And again, you said Tennessee, Arkansas, Hawaii.
Florida, Nebraska.
Well, no shock, Florida hasn't responded.
Sure. That's right. New Jersey, Hawaii, Arkansas, and Florida. So if you live in one of those 6 states today, this morning would be a good day to reach out to your Secretary of State. Tell them you oppose this. It's dangerous. It's anti-democratic.
I said the Secretary of State, the Attorney General,
that's right,
the Governor, absolutely put that pressure on them.
That's right. And actually this week, the National Association of Secretaries of State will be convening in Indianapolis. So we're going to be putting pressure on for a resolution to be introduced condemning this Kobach commission.
I mean, even Mike Pence's state has said hands off.
That's right.
So it's interesting, even Trump's red states are saying, yeah, go find the nearest lake.
The bipartisan opposition is intense on this one because it is so unprecedented and dangerous. The gall to try and compile this kind of data on 200 million Americans. Again, we've never seen anything like this. It is worth fighting tooth and nail. And it comes at a time when we're seeing the Justice Department roll back work on voting rights. So we've got to fight on this one, Roland.
All right, Kristen Clark, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh, my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.